Okay, so now what we're going to be doing on the piano is, I'm assuming at this point you sort of have knowledge of triads, which are just chords. On the website, there's an article about triads on the piano and how to play them and where they are. Very important to get this down that down before we do this, because what we're going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about triads, but I'm going to again assume that you know where they are on the piano, and we're going to change them so it's starting to resemble a song. All right, so again, like I said, triads are like chords. So, and almost every song is based around chords, a chord progression. So, a triad, like I was saying, is going to be three notes, triad, right? So what we have is a root, a third, and a fifth. So the most important note that the name of that you're probably going to have to remember is root. So if we take a look at that C major chord, C major triad, I've got a C, an E, and a G. Okay, now the root is the C, the third is the E, and the G is the fifth. And that is actually, remember we did that in our first lesson where we did the scales up and down, we outlined the triad. Alright, so that is a C major chord. Now normally when you're playing a song, I mean there's so many variations on this, right? We can play them together, like broken up, or solid, right? So again, the types of songs are, I mean, that's what makes songs creative, is doing it in your own way, right? But it's all still going to be chords or triads. So let's start changing the C major. Let's do them together, so solid chords rather than broken up. And what we're going to do is we're going to assume that it's 4/4, right? So what we do is we're just going to literally play it 4 times. Now that on its own sounds a little empty, right? So what we want to do is put some low end in there, some low notes. Now, generally speaking, and again, like I said, each song is different, but generally speaking, in the left hand, we're playing the root of the chord. So if we have a C major here, what we want to do is play a C in the bass, right? Or in the left hand. So what we can maybe do for this first pattern is maybe what we do is we play again four of the C major triad here and play the root on beat 1. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, so if we sort of take, maybe let's try another chord, the F major. It's a little bit of a jump, the root's on the F. So if we're going to try maybe changing those chords, what we're going to do is play it 4 times, right? So we're going to play the C 4 times, and then we're going to change to the F. Now if we're going to incorporate, again, the left hand, let's try doing, we're going to do the C, and then go down to the F. Only on beat 1. So if we try that, I'll count it in. 2, 3, 4. Now to the F. Now let's try to add another note. Let's maybe try to add another chord, the G major. So what we're going to do is C, then F, and then G. So again, in the bass, in the left hand, we're going to do a C, then an F, and then a G. Let's try it together. So 1, 2, 3, 4. C major, then F, then we're going to go to G. 2, 3, 4. So, and then usually a chord progression actually has, 4 chords. So why don't we go C, F, G, back to C. Count it in. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. F, 2, 3, 4, G. And then back down to C. So again, that's just a very basic pattern and a basic way of moving around chords, right? The other thing that a lot of people will do just to beef it up a little bit in the low end, again, like I was saying, is rather than playing the one note, you do an octave. Now, it's a big stretch, so if you don't really have the hands for it right now, that's okay. You just play the one note like we were doing it. But if you want to try to put the octave in, do you see how it's, again, from the C to the C? So it's a big stretch, but if you know you're pretty developed hand, then you should be able to play it. So if I do the exact same thing I just did, we're going to do C, F, G, back down to C. So if we do that with the triad, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now up to G, back down to C. Okay, so again, that's just one basic pattern that we can do with solid chords. Now maybe we want to try to do one where they're broken up chords. So what that means is what we're going to be doing is what's called arpeggiating. So instead of playing them all together, we still take those three notes, C, E, and G, but instead of playing them together 4 times, let's do them separate. So let's again try that one more time. Now, you see the pattern? I'm just, again, we can do so many different variations on it. This is just one example. We start with the thumb, then the third, which is, remember the third finger, fifth finger, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. So we have 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. So what we're doing is, as you can tell, we're doing 8 notes now instead of 4. So what we're doing is playing 8th notes instead of quarter notes. So if I do that with, let's do just the one finger in the left hand, not the octave, okay? So now if we put that pattern to the rest of the chords, now if I try it on F, and then to G, back to SC. So if we try that all together, again now in the left hand what we're doing is we're playing the C first, and then the F, and then the G, back to the C. Always only on beat 1. So it would be 1. Now we're going to get ready for the F. And then we're going to go up to the G. Back to the F, or back to the C rather. Now let's try it with the octaves in the left hand. Back to C. Alright, so now we've got 2 patterns. Let's maybe try a third pattern too. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick with the 8th notes, but we're going to sort of be doing them, it's sort of in between broken and solid. So you see what we're going to do is play the 3rd and the 5th at the same time, and then the root 4 times. If we keep going to this, the F, again the 3rd and the 5th at the same time, and then the F. Root. Then up to G, back to C. Okay. So let's try that out with, well, we'll jump right to the octaves, but again, if you're having a hard time getting that stretch, just do the single note, right? So if we try it together, we'll do it at a little bit slower pace. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. F, now up to G. Then back to C. So again, these are just a few ideas, right? There's so many variations on these for songs, or else it would be pretty dull, right? And on top of the patterns being varied in songs, of course, there's going to be variations on the actual chord progression. So maybe what you can do, I mean, you can make up your own. Just go through the list that we have on the website of the chords, the triads, and just try to go from one chord to the other. It'll be great practice. So, but if I sort of give you just a couple more, maybe what you can try doing is A minor, and then maybe D minor, and then let's go down to E major, back to A minor. So what you can do is you can start actually doing, again, all those variations that we did. Remember the 3 variations on those chords. But again, I mean, this is the funnest part of music too. Anyways, is being creative with it. Why don't you just make up your own chord progression and really just try to make those changes? Because again, it'll just be good practice for everything, for all the songs that you want to learn later on. And be sure to use some where they're starting on the flats or the sharps, right? They're going to be a little bit more difficult, but the more you practice it, obviously, the easier it's going to be when you see them in songs, because you don't want to be discouraged by bad key signature, meaning like if there's a lot of flats and a lot of sharps in the song, you don't want to be discouraged and say, I don't want to learn it because of that. So you should be comfortable doing it everywhere. And if you're looking for a song, actually Let It Be is a great one to start with. It's on our website. Why don't you grab a copy of it? It's in the key of C, which was the first one we did. And actually those three chords, what was it, C, F, and G, are actually three chords that are in the song. So it's actually a great practice to do it. So if you go through this, then maybe grab the Let It Be. It'll be a great lesson for you. So good luck. Those are triads. You'll be playing them almost in every song that you learn, probably. Good luck.